From the home of the 2024 Paris Olympic Summer Games, you're watching Nonstop Local KHQ at 5.
And we do begin with a live look right now over Lake Coeur d'Alene. Gosh, don't you wish you were there right now?
I sure do. Taking a dip in the lake sounds pretty nice.
Oh gosh, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Plenty of people are out there enjoying it for us. Just a gorgeous finally Friday. We do remain though under a nonstop weather alert as temperatures are approaching triple digits in the days ahead. So the time to start planning really is right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Haley Gunther in the Weather Center. I'm in for Sean Owsley, joined by Justin Spinney. And Justin, it's going to be a very, very hot weekend.
Yeah, no doubt about that. The weekend's not where this heat up is going to end, Haley.
Right.
We're talking about
We're just getting started.
That's exactly right. This is going to continue all the way into next week. Look at our satellite and radar here. It really tells the story, and you can see not a whole lot going on. That's because we have a strong ridge of high pressure that's built in over the western United States. That's keeping any active weather well away from us, even keeping cloud cover away from us. Very quiet and hot conditions is what's building in under that ridge of high pressure. So let's show you those current temperatures across the region. It is hot already. 92 in Spokane, upper 80s through the North Idaho Panhandle. We're at 92 in Ritzville, 96 in Moses Lake. Meanwhile, down toward the LC Clearwater Valley areas, upper 90s right now, 97 degrees as we're in the heat of this evening. Now we're going to see this multiple times from now all the way until next week. We're talking about heat alerts. They're going in effect officially tomorrow. They're going to last all the way through next Friday. Many of us under the excessive heat warning. That's the take action stage. We're talking from the Okanagan Valley down into the Columbia Basin. It includes the Spokane Coeur d'Alene metro area all the way down toward the Palouse, LC Valley, even into the Camas Prairie. Meanwhile, those of us that aren't under the heat warning are under a heat advisory. Still some hot temperatures through northeast Washington, the North Idaho Panhandle. Even the other side of the Cascades going to be feeling the effects of this heat wave. So how hot are those high temperatures going to get? Again, continuing to climb this weekend. Tomorrow will be similar to what we're seeing today with temperatures in the 90s. We'll keep jumping up in the 90s into Sunday, into Monday. Then I think we're going to see our first triple digits of the year, Tuesday and Wednesday. We expect those right now to be the hottest days. Haley.
Yeah, Nonstop Local in fire mode for you now as we head into the weekend. Level 3 evacuations, meaning go now, are in effect for the Pioneer fire that's burning along Lake Chelan.
The area in question runs from Prince Creek down Lake to Lone Fir Creek. Elsewhere, level 2 meaning be ready to go, and level 1 meaning get ready are in effect elsewhere around the fire. Now, the Pioneer fire has burned more than 5,400 acres north of Chelan.
The additional evacuations were ordered after the fire picked up overnight. The fire started on June 8th and could burn until Halloween because of how remote it is burning right now. A boy is under arrest accused of starting this wildfire, this one in Wenatchee. The Chelan County Sheriff's Office says the boy was setting off fireworks before the Balsam Root fire began.
This is all happening in the Horse Lake Reserve area this morning. At one point, there were level 3 evacuations, which have been dropped to a level 1 advisory. The fire has burned 250 acres and is 30% contained. The Road 11 fire burning in Douglas County is contained. The 900-acre wildfire started yesterday and quickly spread near the town of Mansfield.
Yeah, dozens of firefighters were called to put out this one. Investigators do believe it was started by a downed power line, but the official cause is still under investigation. Many parts of central Washington are under a red flag warning because of heat and very low humidity. Yeah, the state's Department of Natural Resources says crews are already tackling wildfires and are on standby once more start. Ryan Rothruck with the Department of Natural Resources says the only way to prevent more wildfires this weekend is to pay attention to everything.
Caution is more critical than ever. Respecting those burn bans is more critical than ever. Being aware of what those burn restrictions are and abiding by them is absolutely critical as we enter this phase of weather.
Now, where that red flag warning is in central Washington, that's not the only part of the state worried about more fires as the temperatures heat up.
Absolutely. Spokane County fire crews are also getting ready for what could be a big weekend with wildfires. Nonstop Local's Grady Glover spent the day with firefighters from Spokane County Fire District 4 and has more on that. Grady.
Yeah, Haley, I spoke with both the city and the county fire departments, and they did say that the fire concern is real, but they believe that the increase in calls will mostly be coming from heat-related illnesses, and they also said they need to take precautions to make sure their own firefighters are ready to answer those calls.
One of the biggest concerns we start seeing is heat-related injuries with our residents, but also with our fire crews.
Captain David LaChapelle with the Spokane County Fire District 4 says larger responses may be seen with this hotter weather, so they can rotate their crews faster to stay healthy.
So normally you have a crew that's in a fire, they might be able to stay 15, 20, 25 minutes on the fire. However, when you have conditions like this, you might narrow it down to 5 or 10 minutes and then rotate a fresh crew in there just to keep everybody healthy and safe.
Kurt Vandeventer with the Spokane City Fire Department says that you can lose multiple pounds of water weight while fighting a fire when it's hot outside, and replenishing that water is key to continuing to work.
The fire chief made sure every rig had a water cooler and cups for crews to drink and stay hydrated when they're out working, and then we have ability to bring in resources as needed.
LaChapelle says that even with these precautions, if there is a serious problem, it's important to call.
If you have a problem and there is a heat-related injury or you're concerned about that, call 911 and have us come and check on you.
And Vandeventer also mentioned the Spokane cooling centers, which will open if it reaches above 95 degrees. And LaChapelle also said he will be driving around in the area of Spokane County Fire District 4, handing out water and ice to those who may be feeling the effects of the heat. Live in Spokane tonight, Grady Glover, Nonstop Local.
And when it comes to staying cool, this is super important. All public libraries will serve as cooling centers. The list of locations is shown here on your screen. Regular weekday hours will be observed with extended hours at the Central Library on weekends. That's 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can also visit the Trent Resource and Assistance Center, though it doesn't open until Sunday. One place people are seeking relief from the heat is at Riverfront Park in downtown Spokane. This week, they're hosting the ICCU Carnival. Plenty of folks from all over the region are making their way to the heart of Spokane. They weren't necessarily expecting this extreme heat. Nonstop Local's Melinda Lee went to the carnival, spoke with those who say Spokane's a bit too hot right now.
Yeah, Haley, this week we celebrated our country's freedom from Britain, and this weekend we can celebrate our freedom to overeat fried food. So hello from the ICCU Carnival here at Riverfront Park, where the thing on everyone's mind as they step outside is the heat.
You know, we're full-time on the road. We live in our RV, and we travel the U.S. And so I didn't really know that it would get this hot. So we've been kind of hanging at home during the afternoon and coming out a little bit later in the evening.
Then I stopped the Sauer family after hearing them exclaim, "It's so hot."
I expected cold.
Turns out they're visiting Spokane from California.
We're gonna beat the heat. Need ice cream.
And we're going back to San Diego, where it's way cooler.
Ice cream.
Ice cream is probably the most fun answer I got from families when I asked them how they're beating the heat at the ICCU Carnival. But the key here is preparation. Have your hydration, be it water or electrolytes. Have your sunscreen. Maybe you want to have an umbrella to protect yourself against the sun. Maybe you have one of these Nonstop Local towels that our team handed out at Hoop Fest. It's just all about being prepared as we prepare for those higher temperatures through the weekend. Reporting in Riverfront Park, I'm Melinda Lee for Nonstop Local.
Melinda, thank you. Fireworks are being blamed for starting this house fire in Hayden. The fire broke out just after 11 last night along West Ashland. By the time fire crews arrived, flames had already started overtaking the home. Part of the roof ended up collapsing, forcing firefighters out. Luckily, no one was home at the time. It took crews 45 minutes to put those flames out. Fireworks also being blamed for starting this house fire. This is the scene in Clarkston. Firefighters say it broke out along Poplar Street. Crews arrived within minutes, but by the time they got there, flames had overtaken the home. It took fire crews from 3 different cities to get the upper hand and stop it from spreading to nearby homes. Let's take you to Sandpoint now. Another fire forcing part of downtown to be shut down. It broke out around at 10 o'clock last night at the Army Surplus One store. This is the intersection of 5th and Oak. The city says despite the efforts of various departments, the building is a total loss. The cause remains under investigation tonight. Washington State Patrol issuing a missing Indigenous person alert for this woman right here on your screen. This is Whitney Flett. The 35-year-old was last seen Monday leaving her home in Omak. She was heading to Walmart. Investigators say her car was spotted yesterday between Okanagan and Omak. She's believed to be driving a 2013 Dodge Avenger with the plate CME 2807. If you have any information about where Whitney Flett could be, you're urged to call 911. A shooting in Othello lands one person in the hospital and the suspected gunman in jail. Adams County deputies say 21-year-old Jesse Alcaraz shot the victim near Cayley Road around 9 o'clock last night. Suspect now facing charges of assault. The victim's condition is unknown at this hour, as is what led up to that shooting. A woman is now facing charges of kidnapping and robbery after police say she held 2 people at gunpoint with a hatchet. Court documents say Ashley Fry accused the 2 of stealing her Jeep and her Nintendo Switch. Investigators say 6 people in all, including Fry, kept the 2 inside of a home along East 4th Avenue in Spokane County. When one of the men watching them started to fall asleep, they made a run for it to a neighbor's home who called 911. The deadly and record-breaking Hurricane Beryl is now headed for the Gulf of Mexico.
And it will pose a danger to the Gulf Coast with the risk of life-threatening rip currents for hundreds of miles of the U.S. coastline. As reporter Brian Abel tells us, those living in Texas are now being asked to prepare for Beryl's arrival.
Hurricane Beryl bearing down on Mexico Friday morning, making landfall as a Category 2 near the popular tourist destination of Tulum. The storm surge potentially reaching up to 5 feet above high tide for the Yucatan Peninsula, with up to 6 inches of rainfall. Relief efforts underway, with officials saying half of Tulum's homes lost power during the storm.
En este momento, 58 refugios temporales activos con 2,193 personas refugiadas. Tenemos 4 personas que fueron rescatadas porque en su casa estaba inundada.
Beryl, the earliest storm on record to reach Category 5 in the Atlantic, cut a deadly path through the Caribbean, where cleanup has just begun.
It has really opened my eyes more, so you have to always be prepared, because you never know what's going to happen. You have to always be prepared.
Beryl now on the move toward the Gulf of Mexico, where it's expected to strengthen again before its final landfall in northeastern Mexico or South Texas this weekend. The storm is likely to bring dangerous surf conditions and life-threatening rip currents to the entire Gulf Coast, from Florida to Texas, during a very busy holiday weekend.
We have to evacuate. All I have to do is just put all my stuff in this little black trailer here and haul it out of here, and we're just waiting.
In Washington, Brian Abel, Nonstop Local.
And we are continuing to track that path of Hurricane Beryl. Here it sits right now. This is where we're expecting it to go as of right now. The big question is going to be, how long is this going to spend in the Gulf of Mexico? The longer it spends in the Gulf, the more time it has to re-intensify. So far, this has been very on par with forecasts, so we'll see if this continues to work its way up towards southern Mexico, possibly reaching landfall, affecting areas like Corpus Christi. But of course, this is where, again, it gets a little bit trickier, seeing how long it's going to spend in that warmer water. Haley.
Yeah, from hurricanes to volcanoes, you are watching the moment. A volcano on the island of Stromboli spews clouds of ash high into the air. Lava started flowing from the volcano yesterday and right into the Mediterranean. The island's mayor has issued a stop to daily travelers. Another very active volcano, this one on the Sicilian island of Mount Etna, also experienced activity earlier this week. Across the pond, Britain's new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, officially taking office. He's already begun assembling his cabinet. The Conservative Party suffered its worst defeat in 200 years with the latest elections. The Labour Party also claiming 412 out of the 650 in Parliament. Voters say they needed a change after years of economic and political upheaval. President Biden faces two high-stakes events today. First, a rally in the important swing state of Wisconsin, then a sit-down interview, his first since the debate. Democratic officials, donors, and voters will be watching to see if he can bounce back from the debate and is worthy of being the party nominee. Drew Wilder has the details from Capitol Hill.
President Biden returned to the campaign trail today with mounting pressure to ease concerns about his mental fitness.
My friends, I'm in Wisconsin for one reason, because we're going to win Wisconsin today.
The president's rally today was in Madison, Wisconsin, starting a swing of stops through battleground states and higher stakes as some Democrats wonder if Biden is fit to run for office.
I think there are a lot of my former colleagues who really are in the wait-and-see mode.
The president will be back in the hot seat tonight, sitting for a high-stakes TV interview airing in prime time while former President Donald Trump's campaign is on the attack, saying today, quote, Joe Biden is unfit for office, and no matter who they put up, their policies are unpopular, their records are a disaster, and they have disqualified themselves. This week, a New York Times and Siena College poll finds Trump leading Biden by 6 points among likely voters. The poll showed Trump led Biden among male voters by 12 points before the debate, but after the debate, Trump's lead among men ballooned to 23 points. And some Democrats don't seem convinced that Biden's performance at the debate was just a fluke.
It's a really complicated time right now.
As the Biden team tries to dispel rumors of replacing him as the nominee, time is running out if a change is imminent. The Democratic National Convention just less than 7 weeks away. In Washington, Drew Wilder, NBC News.
A growing number of Democrats are calling for the president to step aside, and we will be watching to see what more Democrats have to say when Congress returns to work on the Hill next week. With just 10 days until the National Republican Convention, former President Donald Trump is back on the campaign trail. He is set to hold events next week in both Florida and Pennsylvania. It's expected he could announce his vice presidential candidate pick during the rally in Miami. That's on Tuesday. CNN reports those closest to Mr. Trump insists even they are in the dark as to who his ultimate choice will be. The Seattle Kraken have signed a new deal with a pivotal player. Noah Schmick will let us know who that is coming up a bit later on in sports. And all new at 6, do you recognize these men or their clothes? Investigators say they attacked a gas station employee, forced him into the bathroom while they helped themselves to cash and other goods. Those details coming up at 6.
Thanks for being with us here at 5 o'clock. We are under a nonstop local weather alert. The reason for it is the hot temperatures, and one side effect of these hot temperatures, especially that are going to stick around for a while, it quickly dries out our fire fuels. In fact, today we do have a red flag warning in effect. It includes the Waterville Plateau and those central foothills of the Cascades over on the east side of the Cascades as well as on the west side of the Cascades. We're talking about the hot temperatures along with very dry air. You combine that with some winds that are gusting a little bit stronger through the Cascade Gaps. That's the perfect recipe for that red flag warning. That'll stay in effect until tonight. Now, we do have some low relative humidities, especially in that region. We're down to 16% in Spokane, 14% in Ritzville, a dry 16% right now in Moses Lake. What these relative humidities just tell us, it's hot and it's dry. Really, it's as simple as that. So let's get into those wind gusts, what they're going to look like ahead. Again, those strongest gusts are definitely going to be through the Cascade Gap. Some gusts around 30 miles an hour are possible continuing into this evening. For the rest of us, really not too much wind to talk about. Highest gusts are going to be around the 20-mile-an-hour mark, so that's really a light breeze at the most. As we get into those weather headlines, we're starting to see our low temperatures also rise with our high temperatures. Tonight, many of us are going to struggle to fall below the 60s. For tomorrow, It's going to be very similar to today. Some hot sunshine once again, just like we're seeing out on our sky cam right now. Very comparable temperatures tomorrow to what we're seeing right now. As we start to look ahead, we're talking about a stretch of hot weather. Again, it's not just going to be 1 or 2 days where it's going to get hot. This is going to extend throughout our 7-day forecast and possibly even beyond that. The reason for this heat wave, it's that high pressure system down to the southwest of us. It's sitting over California, and it's really going to stay there for quite some time. The lack of movement in that high pressure system is what's just going to allow that heat to keep building and building. We have no cool air to mix in with that, as that ridge is just going to continue to strengthen. It's been eating its spinach. It's going to get stronger and stronger as we head toward this weekend into the beginning of next week. Let's take a look at those low temperatures for tonight. Falling down to 64 in Spokane as well as in Ritzville. Only down to 65 tonight in Moses Lake. Friends in the LC Valley, it's going to be a warm night tonight and a warm start to the day tomorrow. Low temperature at 69 degrees. I don't think we're going to sit there very long. Most of the night we're going to be staying in the 70s. High temperatures for tomorrow, again, similar to what we're seeing right now. 94 that high temperature in Spokane. Upper 90s is what we're going to be looking at in Moses Lake. Welcome the Palouse to the 90 party, right at that 90-degree range. Think we're going to be just shy of getting up to 100 in the LC Valley, but it's going to be close. I think we'll see 99 at the airport, and I think we will see 100 degrees downtown and down by the river. Want to get you a full look now here at that 7-day extended forecast. You can see how those temperatures are just going to continue to jump up. We'll take a jump Saturday into Sunday up to 96 we go. 99 that high temperature on Monday. Again, middle of next week looks the hottest. Tuesday and Wednesday, our best chances of seeing triple digits in Spokane. There's going to be nothing but sunshine ahead throughout the 7-day forecast. We're watching the end of next week right now. It looks like we're still going to be under this ridge pattern, but it looks like it's going to shift just a touch. That's going to allow our temperatures to drop some, but they're still going to be well above average, topping out in the upper 90s.
SWX brings you non-stop local sports coverage of your favorite teams. Check it out at swxlocalsports.com. We're on it. Live from the Northern Quest Sports Studio. This is SWX Non-Stop Local Sports.
Well, it's not hockey season. You can definitely tell by the weather outside, but the Seattle Kraken have came to terms with their right winger who scored the first playoff goal in franchise history. Forward Eli Tolvanen agreed to a new 2-year deal with the Kraken worth just under $7 million. Tolvanen was a first-round pick by Nashville back in 2017, but was claimed off waivers by the Kraken about 2 years ago, and since then, he's been a mainstay on a line with Yanni Gordon, Oliver Bjorkstrand, scoring 32 goals and 36 assists in the past 2 seasons with Seattle. Last season, though, he set career highs with 41 points and 25 assists. In even more hockey news, the Spokane Chiefs, who just wrapped up their off-season drafts, now have a new guy at the helm. But according to general manager Matt Bardsley, they can't announce the name just yet, as they have to wait for a few things to go through that's a little bit out of their control.
I think within the next 2-3 weeks, we're hoping to be able to announce. And the biggest thing is we're just waiting for the immigration to clear on that. But I think we'll be pretty excited with the announcement.
So Haley, Justin, a lot of hockey news today. We really wouldn't think about hockey at all, but it would be nice to be on the ice right about right now. So.
Gosh, I'd say, how are you going to stay cool, Noah?
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in the Spokane Arena and just or chill out by the ice.
Just lay down.
Exhale.
Yeah, soak it
in. Yep. Well, you got to get creative when temperatures are this dang hot. Yeah, we want to share the good with you before we let you go tonight. Humans are not the only ones enjoying hot dogs this 4th of July holiday weekend. How sweet is this?
Yeah, again, we're not the only ones. We also got the K9 officers with the Lee County Sheriff's Office in Southwest Florida. They posted this video of the dogs trying to catch a hot dog yesterday.
Well, some succeeded. Others, not so much. After their hot dogs, the K9 officers enjoyed some time in the sun.
Oh, man, I thought that one had it. Last minute it fell through.
This close. This close. He still got it, though.
It's a good reminder, though, Haley, for your dogs. Make sure they get plenty of water. We don't want your dogs to become hot dogs.
Absolutely. It is dangerous conditions, Justin. We know that the time to start planning for this kind of heat is right now.
No doubt about it, Haley. Yeah, and again, it's sticking around for a long time. And let's take a look at that weekend forecast right now. Yeah, this weekend, again, this is just the beginning of this heat wave, really. Temperature is going to be in the 90s, topped out at 96 on Sunday.
All right, Lester Holt with NBC Nightly News is coming up next. We'll see you back here at 6.